Now, the management of the Federal University Dutse-Ma, the FUDMA in Katsina State on Friday said the remaining 4 abducted female students of the university have regained freedom. The Vice-Chancellor of the University, Armayau Hamisubichi, confirmed this to newsmen in Katsina, where he said the freed female students were among the 5 that were abducted by suspected bandits. They were abducted on October 3rd from their rented apartment behind Mariamo Ajiri Memorial School in Dutse-Ma. Hamisubichi disclosed that the freed female students will undergo medical checkups before they are handed over to their families. Recall that on October 3rd, 2023, the police confirmed the kidnapping of 5 female students by gunmen suspected to be bandits. And on November 20th, the Katsina Police Command confirmed that one of the female students had escaped from their abductors. The troops of Operation Hadarindaji have killed 3 terrorists and also rescued about 6 kidnapped victims in Sokoto State. The Nigerian Army disclosed this in a Friday statement, saying that the development followed an onslaught against the terrorists. The offensive clearance operation, which took place at Bauni village and Bauni forest, led to a gun duel that lasted for several hours, the army said. The statement said the troops' aggressiveness and firepower superiority forced the terrorists to abandon their hideouts and flee in disarray. It added that 2 AK-47 rifles, 19 magazine ammunition, 2 Dane guns, motorcycles, radios, and other items were recovered from the terrorists. The district head of Sarkin Kudu town in Ibi local government area of Taraba State, Ali Hakimi, has been killed by bandits. Now, Hakimi was killed after he was reportedly attacked in his palace at Sarkin Kudu town at about 12:30 a.m. on Friday. A resident of the town, Bello Adamu, told Daily Trust that the deceased was the brother of the chief of Sarkin Kudu chiefdom. Adamu said the bandits had launched several attacks across the chiefdom and abducted several residents recently. He noted that attackers escaped into the bush after killing the district head, adding that everyone in the area is living in fear. The state's police command was yet to confirm the incident at the time of filing this report. The governors of the 19 northern states are meeting in Kaduna to discuss the issues that affect the region. This is the first time that the new governors are meeting since they came into office on May 29, 2023. The meeting, which is being held at the Siri or Sir Kashim Ibrahim Government House in the Kaduna State capital, was chaired by the Governor of Gombe State, Inuwa Yahya, and also hosted by the Kaduna State Governor, Bana Obasani. Take a look.
The meeting commenced with the observance of a minute silence for the repose of the souls of those who died during Tudimbiri incident. In his address, the chairman of the forum and Governor Inuwa Yahya of Gombe said the forum will collectively work to ensure Tudimbiri incident does not occur in the future.
Begin by paying special tribute to the people of Tudimbiri community who are victims of the tragic bombing incident by the Nigerian Army during counter-terrorism operations. We all witnessed the level of devastation wrought upon them by the tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers are with all the affected families and the entire people of Kaduna State. I would like to assure you that all the 19 northern states governors are working collectively to ensure that the tragic incident is thoroughly investigated with a view to compensating the victims and taking corrective measures so as to prevent future occurrence.
Considering the security challenges bedeviling the North, the forum said only a collective approach will tackle the menace head-on.
We believe that more needs to be done to bring an end to the menace of kidnapping, banditry, communal clashes, and terrorism bedeviling our region. Security and development are intricately connected, and we must approach them collectively. Without security, there will be no development, because investors can only invest in an environment where their assets and resources are secure. Similarly, our people can only go to farms and pursue other economic livelihoods and other social activities when their safety is guaranteed. Therefore, addressing these security challenges is crucial to the overall development and well-being of our region.
Earlier, the host and the governor of Kaduna State Obasani said uniting the people in the north is a panacea for the development of the region.
Our region has been grappling with challenges of insecurity. Our human development indices have been declining. For the Northern State Governors Forum to remain relevant, we must forge unity among our people and collaborate on issues of development. Ethno-religious unity remains the foundation for the advancement of the ideals of regional peace, security, and development in the North.
The forum also resolved to support the victims of Tudunbiri incident with 180 million naira. The northern governors also joined other faithfuls at Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi Mosque, Tudunwada, to pray for the repose of the souls of the Tudunbiri bombing victims. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Police in Anambra State have rescued 4 children from the same parents who were abducted from their homes on Friday night. Anambra State Police Command spokesperson DSP2 Chukwu Ikenga said the children were taken from Enugu Agidi in Njikoka local government area of Anambra State. Speaking on how the children were kidnapped, Ikenga said the mother of the children said the family was watching television at about 10 p.m. when electricity suddenly went out. She and her husband went out to find out what was amiss when they saw 3 gunmen suspected to be herdsmen and fled for their dear lives. By the time that they returned, they had the courage to return to the house. They discovered that their 4 children, who were already asleep, had been abducted by gunmen. Ikenga said security had been beefed up in the area to forestall recurrence. The Ogun State Police Command says it has rescued about 7 persons abducted by gunmen in Fidowo area of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The police said the victims were rescued unhurt after 4 days of combing the area. The gunmen, also numbering about 9, had attacked the travelers along the expressway, abducting 7 of them and killing 1 and injuring others. A victim who refused to give his name for security reasons said the gunmen ambushed them on Monday amid intermittent gunshots. Giving an update on the kidnapping incident, the police public relations officer of Ogun Command, Omolola Odutola, said one of the kidnappers was arrested while all 7 victims were rescued unhurt. Also, Odutola said the kidnappers were forced to release their victims after a 4-day onslaught by the police and other security agencies. A Saturday morning fire has destroyed more than 30 provision shops in the roadblock area of Jalingo, the capital city of Taraba State. Report says that the exact cause of the fire remains unknown, but some shop owners attributed the incident to black marketers selling the cooking gas on the premises, while others pointed fingers at an iron welder. Eyewitnesses said upon the arrival of the fire service approximately 30 minutes after being notified, angry youths confronted and impeded the efforts of the firefighters. This led to the fire service personnel leaving the scene without containing the blaze. The police, according to reports, later intervened by using tear gas to disperse the agitated youths, creating a safe space for the fire service personnel to return and prevent further escalation of the fire outbreak. The number of resignations in the Rivers State Executive Council has risen to 9 after 2 more commissioners handed in their resignation following 7 of their colleagues out of the Governor Siminalayi Fubara's cabinet. Now, the latest to resign are the Commissioner for Special Projects, Emeka Woke, and the Commissioner for Environment, Austin Ben Chioma. While Woke served as the Chief of Staff to former Governor and current FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, Ben Chioma served as Commissioner for Urban Development in the immediate past administration. Woke was also a former local government chairman of Emohua local government area. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has moved all documents and materials used in the November 11th Kogi governorship election from its headquarters in Lokoja to Abuja. The INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, was said to have ordered the removal of the election materials from its Lokoja headquarters for security reasons. The electoral materials were transferred in INEC trucks on Friday afternoon from its Lokoja office under heavy security in line with the directive of the Commission. The materials transferred to Abuja include election results, beavers, and other relevant sensitive documents used in the said election. An INEC official who craved anonymity said the order is to ease the smooth operation of the Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting. The electoral umpire had earlier relocated the sitting of the State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal to the National Judicial Council Complex, Jabi, Abuja, because of the alleged insecurity situation at its headquarters in Lokoja a few weeks back. You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up, Imo residents decry increasing price of cooking gas. This and more after the break. Stay with us.
This is Africa Update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba. Thanks for joining.
Rest of Africa, stand and make sure that our people understand.
And the story of the OAU can be told and retold. It cannot be denied that it made a contribution to the process of decolonization of the continent in many ways.
Ethiopia is where it is today in no small part because of the tireless efforts of the African Union and the wisdom of its deeply held belief in the principle of African solution to African problems.
The bulk of African countries were under colonial rule in 1945. So they did not take part in the negotiations that established the Bretton Woods institutions.
But the African continent is not included in the South-South relations. And therefore, our objective is to ensure that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is actually implemented. And the BRICS countries, all of them are trading with Africa.
And we know that there are resources in Sudan, especially in Darfur. And that is why Darfur has been on the front burner for a long time.
So Cameroonians are anxious, Cameroonians are impatient, Cameroonians are like, oh, many of the guys are not talking today. You can read it all over the social media.
Egypt has officially declined to accept fleeing Palestinians for fear that the more Palestinians you accept across the border into Egypt, the more trouble there may be for the country in the nearest and farthest future.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. Remaining abducted Federal University Dusama female student regained freedom. And fire destroyed over 30 shops in Taraba. Now moving on to more stories. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has labeled the World Bank an enemy of the country after the financial institution asked the federal government to stop the subsidy payment on petrol and raise the cost of product to 715 naira per litre. In a statement, the congressman, the chairman, Joe Ajaero, criticized the World Bank's lead economist for Nigeria, Alex Siniat, for supporting the unwarranted recommendation during a presentation in Abuja, and rejected an increase in petrol prices to 750 naira per litre, while accusing the World Bank for promoting policies that prioritize the foreign interest over the well-being of the Nigerian people. The union advised the government to resist foreign influence in economic policies and prioritize the welfare of its citizens. Residents of Owerri, the Imo State capital, have decried the consistent rise in the price of cooking gas in the state. Ajibade Praise, who visited some of the gas stations in the metropolis, reports that the residents are seeking alternative as the cost of living surges with each passing day. The report.
Among the gas stations visited is this one located at Aba Road in Naze, Owerri North local government area of the state. The price of gas at this location has risen to 960 naira per kg as against the 560 naira price it was sold a few months ago. Residents who are lamenting that the increment is too high added that since economy is already not favorable, the hiking price of cooking gas is like adding salt to injury.
In fact, everything is high in Nigeria, both the cost of living, commodities, everything are high. So they should reduce the price, and it's affecting everybody.
We've been enjoying the low cost of gas previously, but recently it has been hiked to 1,000 naira and above per kg. So it's so terrible.
It's when we start using gas, as of them, but things are not costly with them, so it's not easy for them to fill it and sell. It's also the same thing for us and them. So if they want to reduce the price, they should do it for us.
Though the management of the gas station refused to speak to us on camera when Trust TV called, one of the attendants who obliged us said they only sell at the price they are instructed to. Like others, he decried the hardship, saying that they also get the product at exorbitant rates at the depot.
It's bad government now. It's not us that pay the price, it's government that pay the price. If not before, customer used to feel here, but now, customer is not feeling here again. Now you can see few people here. They are not seeing crowd. If not before, you can see plenty crowd for here. This nice is very hard for some people to buy it.
Many families are finding it very difficult, and it has caused some families to resort in using firewood, which is not the best option. So I think the government should know what to do about it. It's not good for us.
The price of gas is costly, like else, but everything is costly. If they want to know the price, they should.
While the residents decry hiking the product and look forward to a quick intervention from the federal government, they are not also happy with the current situation of the country, especially the hike in cost of living. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
In business, the African Development Bank, AFDB, says about $90 billion is lost to theft of public resources each year, a loss the body says has prevented Africa from reaching its full potential as a continent. Trust TV correspondent Chamunda Beng reports that the AFDB says losses incurred via theft of public resources and illicit financial flows, as well as corruption in the continent, has exposed Africa to volatile market prices and highly vulnerable supply chains. The report.
Corruption in Africa has stood in the way of the continent's growth as theft of public funds has left very little for African nations to properly plan and budget for its citizens. This has affected Africa's human capital indices on many fronts.
African countries seem not to be budgeting enough for their citizens. Of course, that also harks back to the issue of revenue mobilization, but not only that. It's the conceptual framework behind governance that needs to be fixed. For example, Nigeria's budget per capita is one of the lowest in the world. Budget per capita at the federal level is about $165, which probably cannot do anything.
According to a recent report released by the World Bank, Nigeria has topped its debt list with $2.9 billion in fresh loans, while Tanzania came second with a $2.7 billion debt. Several developing African nations have been plagued with heavy debt, with a large chunk of its GDP set aside to service debt. The issue of debt has been subject to debate, especially in Nigeria, with arguments about the country's borrowing, the relevance thereof. The chief economist and vice president on economic governance and knowledge management at the AFDB, Kevin Urama, says over 21 countries in Africa are facing debt vulnerability, noting that urgent solutions are needed to prevent vulnerable nations from falling into crisis.
Because before you only start discussing countries' debt when they are already in crisis, or when they are near crisis, and then the IMF will do debt sustainability analysis and start creating the warnings that you are close to a debt challenge. And once you are there, it already creates a vicious cycle, because the cost of debt, the cost of capital will go up. Once investors begin to feel that you are likely to default, then the risk that they have to take in order to give you more capital to do both capital and recurrent expenditure in countries becomes higher. So you have what you call the Africa premium that countries pay in order to get capital to do development on the continent.
The issue of illicit financial flows, the AFDB says, is just one of the various economic challenges plaguing Africa as the continent faces budgetary issues, extreme debt, with several African nations spending over 50% or more of their GDP on debt servicing. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured foreign investors to ease in the repatriation of funds as the federal government ramps up efforts to attract more businesses to the country. Tinubu spoke on Friday when he received letters of credence from the ambassador of Hungary, Laurent Ndrefe, the High Commissioner of Rwanda, Christopher Bazivamo, and the ambassador of Ukraine, Ivan Kolestenko, at the State House in Abuja. The Nigerian leader told the Rwandan High Commissioner that issues around trapped funds have been tackled, promising that the funds will be processed expeditiously for release. According to a statement from his spokesman, Ajuri Ngalale, President Tinubu said Nigeria is already working on streamlining issues of double taxation to ensure business growth in Nigeria, which he said is home and a haven for investors. Away from Nigeria, Niger's ruling military has agreed to terms and conditions of the transition back to civilian rule and will present the plan to a regional bloc, the chief diplomat from mediator Togo announced on Thursday. Now, speaking on Niger's national television, Togo Foreign Minister Robert Dusi said he had reached an agreement on the content and timing of the transition with Niger's junta appointed Prime Minister Ali Mohammed Lamine Zain and Foreign Minister Bakari Yao Sangare, after Niger became the latest country in the Sahel to experience a coup with July's ouster of President Mohamed Bazoum. The regional grouping imposed tough sanctions and suspended trade, while also floating the option of military intervention. On Sunday, ECOWAS leaders in Abuja said any easing of the punitive measures against Niger was contingent on a short transition period. The bloc also decided that a committee made up of the presidents of Benin, Togo, and Sierra Leone will lead negotiations with the Nigerian military leaders on the commitment to be implemented. Niger's military leader have previously said that they want up to about 3 years for a transition back to the civilian rule. And finally, in sport, the 2023 ECOWAS Abuja International Marathon witnessed a thrilling display of athletic prowess, with Ethiopian runners claiming top honors in the half marathon men and women categories on Saturday. Though it was the East Africans that carried the day, Nigerian athletes represented the sub-region meritoriously, shining brightly across the podium. In the men's half marathon, Gebreselassie Abadi Haftamu of the Ethiopia stormed to victory to win the $10,000 prize, while Kenya's Alexander Njai Muhia followed close behind in second, taking home $5,000. Nigeria's Sajdo Ismail earned $4,000 for his third-place finish. In the women's category, Ethiopia's Bele Minsewo Abensa also snatched the top position. The Daylop Patience led the charge for Nigeria, claiming a second place in the women's half marathon and earning $5,000 for her efforts. Maite Johanna Vera and Badung Pam Deborah finished third and fourth respectively, adding another layer of Nigeria's success to the event. And with that, we wrap up News Update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.